Hey guys, Chris Harrison here. Going to give you a quick tutorial on how to set up your formatting in Word for your MLA essays. This will be the same thing that you're going to do in just about actually I said just about, actually in every English course you ever take. So once you learn this, nothing changes. There may be some minor tweaks to some issues from year to year, but generally things are going to be exactly the same. So let's just begin by opening up Word, a new document. Here it is. I'm using 2010, but this is essentially the same as in 2007. I'm not sure if 7 or 10 is in our is installed in our computer labs, but it's one or the other, and you can be assured that this process will be essentially identical no matter which one. First thing that we want to do when we open this up is check our margins. Usually margins are defaulted at 1 inch, so we shouldn't have to do anything, but we can come up here and check just to be sure. Page layout, margins, normal, 1 inch, everything's good. Next thing we want to do, make sure we're in the right font. Go back to home. The default is Calibri 11. We want to be in Times New Roman 12. Now my Times New Roman is up near the top. You may have to scroll down the first time you use it and find it in the list, but they're in alphabetical order and you can figure that out. Now we want to switch to 12. The next thing that we want to check is our spacing. Our spacing is always 2.0. So here's where we change our spacing right here. Click 2.0, come back down, make sure these match. Doesn't matter if they both say add or if they both say remove. You just want to make sure that they are the same. I usually choose remove, not that it really matters, but again, they match. We're at 2.0, all is right. Next thing we've got to do is insert a page number. This is usually the part that confuses everyone. I get a lot of folks that type it over here, and that causes problems, especially once you start editing. But there's a way to make it insert itself in the right place and repeat and jump over on itself, roll over, I should say, automatically. So anyway, easiest way I've learned, there's lots of ways, but the easiest way I've learned is to take my cursor near the top of the document here and double click. This little white, or excuse me, blue line should pop up. That shows me we are up in the margin. This is separate from the document. Now, in Word, they call this the header, and anything below this is technically the body of the document. Don't get confused with that, with what the text book calls a header, which is your document information over here. That's something slightly different, but over here we're talking about the text header. But anyway, we need to get over here on the right margin and get all this format. So we'll go back to home, change our font back to Times New Roman 12 again, and we need to be on this margin over here. So we'll click this button, align text right. See here, our default is on the left, and that's where the rest of our document will be, but this is going to be on the right. And we'll type our last name, and we'll space once. Leave your cursor where it is. Now if you type your page number, if you hit the 1, you're going to see last name and 1 on every single page. We need the number to roll over automatically. You usually will get to 2 or 3 pages, and later on you'll 5 or 6 depending on the course, but we need it to roll over. So anyway, to do that, we go up here to insert in the top again, over here to the right, page number, insert a page number. If our cursor is in the right place, we will hit plain number, and now that is going to roll over on every single page. It's last name here. We've got a footer we're not going to mess with. If this were to go to the second page, it would say last name 2. So now we can get back into the body of the document by double clicking out. In other words, if I double click up here, I'm in the header. If I double click below it, I'm in the body. So now we need to type our actual text header. So last name first. Last name first, followed by first name. No punctuation. Not particularly sure why Word is doing this. Maybe it's some sort, or excuse me, MLA requires this. Maybe it's some sort of efficiency thing, saves a little ink, all these comments, but that's the way they want it. Next thing you're going to type in is your course number. I'm going to use 101 section 01 just as an example, but you may have 102 section 7 or whatever. But make sure you do this. If your paper gets separated from me or gets lost in the ether, we need to know where to return it. Next thing as well, my name. My last name will suffice. I'm not doctor. You can type Harrison. I'm not professor. I'm just Mr. Harrison. But Harrison is all we really need. And then finally a date. And we do the date European or military style. That means the day first, followed by the month typed out, followed by the year. And again, no punctuation. We're going to hit enter one more time. And now we need to put our title in here. We will center our title. Same place up here we aligned everything. Titles do not get underlined, they do not get bolded, they do not get special colors, they're not bigger, they're not accentuated in any way whatsoever. You do not get points for making your paper look pretty. It needs to be as plain and simple and as nondescript as the next. It's all about fairness. I don't want anyone's paper looking any different from anyone else's. Likewise, we never, as I mentioned before, we never change our font all the way through. Another thing that we never do throughout the course of the paper is hit enter more than one time. There will be equal spacing from the top to the bottom of the document. So when I'm hit here, I hit enter once, and now I'm ready to type. Okay. Need to go back to left align. To indent paragraphs, you're going to hit the tab button one time. Tab is the button near the top left corner of your keyboard. It's above the caps lock. You'll hit it at the enter. It automatically indents you a ½ inch. That's where you need to go. One major mistake I do see some people who aren't familiar with the software make, and that is they like to hit enter at the end of every line, akin to using the return key on a typewriter. This is not a typewriter. This this software will wrap things automatically. I'm going to show you that just to demonstrate. If you already know that, you can stop this tutorial now. But if you've never used this software before or you're new to it, pay attention to the next couple of minutes and I'll show you how that can create problems. Usually a minority of us do this though. I'm going to pretend that I'm typing a paper and I'm going to hit enter at the end, of every line. Now notice I'm going to hit return now. Notice how it tried to capitalize this. It thinks I'm beginning a new sentence. Now you can go back and delete it and do this, and once you do that once, actually it won't capitalize any of the rest and you think that you're okay. But the problem comes up when you do this over and over and over again. Let's continue this demonstration. I'll show you what I'm talking about. First thing you'll notice when I start typing again, a little green squiggly line is going to pop up over here. Green squiggly lines usually are an indicator that you have formatted incorrectly in some way. You're either missing a space, or you've added an extra space, or you've done something like hit enter at the end of every line. Okay, so I hit enter at the end of this line once again, and see how these green squigglies start popping up. This is really not a big issue in and of itself, but when it really does cause trouble is when if I decide to come back and edit this document. So for example, I don't like the phrase "what happens." I'm going to change this with the errors that may occur, and see what happens to this spacing, to this to the line breaks when this happens. See how this pushed down again? That's the kind of problem we're talking about. So I can fix that obviously, but what if I need to do that over and over and over again in a line? That is a big problem. And also, if you'll notice, once I've edited this, I've got a different amount of lines from here to there, right? Or a different amount of space from here to here. That's going to cause problems. So let's redo this. Let's go back and delete this, and I'll show you how we can type. Let's go back, delete. I'll retype the same piece of text, but this time without hitting enter at the end of every line. See how my text wrapped automatically? This creates no problems. What is it not like about this? Oh, it doesn't like my spacing, but I'm okay, so I can ignore that. This creates no problems at all, and editing is a snap. Now, for example, again, I'm going to go back in and edit. And see, I added that, and everything wrapped automatically. right? No problems. So just keep this up. Now, the only time you're going to hit enter is when it's time to start a new paragraph. So I'm finished with this paragraph. I hit enter. I hit tab again. It's time to begin a new paragraph. End of story. So this is how you format a document. This is the basics of using Word. Again, you'll use this for every paper you write in my courses, in any other English courses, and if you decide to transfer to another school and take English there, you will do the exact same thing there as well. So this is a single lesson that will take you through the rest of your college career. Keep in mind, these things are slightly different in other courses. History classes, psychology classes, nursing classes may ask you for a slightly different format, but this will take you through every English course you ever need to do. Hope that helps.